Deep inside this dense, humid swamp, the air hums with a sound that doesn't belong in our world. It's the beat of wings, a predatory dragonfly with the wingspan of a hawk darting through the canopy. Below the ferns, the shadows hold something even more unsettling. A 2-meter-long, heavily armored millipede slithering across the mud, sharing the floor with scorpions the size of dogs. This bizarre landscape existed over 300 million years ago, a real chapter in Earth's history known as the Carboniferous Period. Today, biology seems to have a ceiling. While mammals can grow to the scale of whales, modern insects remain trapped at a tiny size, limited by their own anatomy. But for millions of years, those rules didn't apply. Something about the Earth itself acted as a forge for giants, before eventually turning against them. The secret to their impossible scale and their eventual disappearance is hidden within the alien forests they called home. The Carboniferous world was dominated by towering, scale-barked trees and massive ferns. You could walk for miles through these swamps and never see a flower, because flowering plants simply hadn't evolved yet. These forests were part of a strange cycle. When trees died and fell into the stagnant water, they didn't rot. The fungi and bacteria required to break down this tough, woody material hadn't appeared yet, so the dead vegetation just piled up, layer after layer. Over millions of years, heat and pressure transformed that undecomposed plant matter into the massive seams of dark rock we find deep underground today. This is coal. The energy powering modern cities and industry is drawn directly from the carbon captured by those prehistoric swamps. We are literally fueling our modern world with the physical remains of the graveyard where Earth's giant insects once lived. Because those ancient plants weren't decomposing, they weren't consuming oxygen. Instead, the thriving forests acted as a massive engine, pumping atmospheric oxygen levels to a staggering 35%, nearly double what we breathe today. This high-oxygen world changed the math of biology. Insects lack lungs. They breathe through tiny tubes called spiracles, relying on passive air diffusion. In thin atmospheres, air only travels so far before the center suffocates, setting a strict size limit. But dense carboniferous oxygen pushed much deeper, supercharging growth to massive scales. We find the proof of this hypergrowth in the stone. Meganeura was a massive dragonfly that used its aerial dominance to hunt the early amphibians of the swamp floor. Not every giant was a hunter, though. Arthropleura, despite reaching the length of a human, appears to have been a peaceful vegetarian, spending its life foraging for rotting plant matter. But this environment was also a powder keg. An atmosphere so saturated with oxygen meant that a single lightning strike could spark explosive forest fires, turning the giant's home into a towering furnace. The Carboniferous was a volatile biological laboratory, using a high-pressure atmosphere to push the anatomy of arthropods to its absolute physical breaking point. Eventually, the planet's gears shifted. The climate cooled, the vast global swamps began to dry out, and the great rainforests collapsed. This chart shows the direct relationship between the air and the animals. As the forests vanished, oxygen levels plummeted. The giants began to suffocate in the thinning air, forcing subsequent generations to evolve smaller, leaner bodies to stay alive. It leads to a fascinating possibility. If our oxygen levels spiked back to 35% tomorrow, would the giants return to claim the Earth? The stone tells us why they wouldn't. While insects shrank, a new force was rising: the evolution of early reptiles and ancestors of modern birds. These warm-blooded, highly agile predators were far more efficient than the slow-growing giants of the past. In a world full of hungry birds, a massive, slow-moving insect is no longer a king, it's just a meal. The giants didn't truly disappear, they just adapted. They traded massive scale for speed and efficiency, and continue to thrive all around us today. These creatures were physical reflections of a radically different Earth. They remind us that the rules of biology aren't fixed. They are entirely at the mercy of our planet's shifting atmosphere.